Heyo and welcome to another episode of Build&Battle Season 2, our Manor Lords Let's Play, where we will build a beautiful medieval city while battling off bandits, brigands, and no-good doers. In the last episode, we made some massive progress on our food shortage, only then to get our butts kicked by bandits. So after our defeat last episode, I wanted to come in and take a deep look into our army and see if we can analyze a few opportunities, and honestly, the first opportunity that I saw is right here. We don't even have enough people to fill in the current the current troops that we have. And to have more people, we still really need to kind of work on our supplies. So let's jump into today's episode where we will begin working out those shortfalls with some more forager huts, a second farmhouse, and better utilized burgage plots, and even settlement into the territory that we claimed a couple of episodes back to see if we can't start importing food to Anamaruth from there. So first thing I wish to do is come in here and evaluate our forager's hut. I was watching a video and it mentioned that the berry deposits have ticks and each tick adds 40 berries. The goal is to harvest as many berries in between ticks so that the berries never cap and you are continually bringing in more and more. I have 2 workers right now at a single forager's hut, and in this video that I watched, they had close to 6 forager huts. Now, I don't have a rich deposit in this territory, so I really don't think I need 6 forager huts, and I don't have a lot of workforce right now. So my plan is to add a 3rd worker in here as time goes by to try and harvest as many berries in between ticks as possible. So let's jump into a time lapse and watch how this works. Alright, so that worked out pretty well. We have a bit of army increase as we have added families, and our food in general did increase despite not really having any months. So we have about 131 berries total, and the number of months before supplies run out is low, but that's probably because we don't have a lot of fuel, which I plan on remedying later on in this episode. Since we were capping a little bit, even with actually having 4 out of 4 workers here, I think it's worth adding another forager hut and time-lapsing this again. But before we queue up for a few more workers and more another forager hut here, we gained some people. So I do want to come in and I want to increase our granary production, seeing as we did have we were capping in the foragers storage a little bit, and I don't want that to happen. I'm also going to increase the treasury a little bit as the royal tax has increased just a little bit. So if we go up to 2, we have a -2. So if we go to 3, it's -3. I think we'll try at a 3% tax, and actually we'll stay at a 1% tithe. I can gain influence in a couple of different methods. I just wanted some passive influence coming in. That's why we have it in general. So all right, let's come on in here. I think we will add another forager's hut. I think that's where we'll put it. So let's extend, and we'll plop it right there. And once it's built up, we'll employ, let's start with 2 on this one, and we'll go from there. Okay, so we were capping a lot even with the additional forager's hut. Since we are exerting our available workforce right now, I'm going to leave us at the 2 forager huts and probably increase the workforce in the second forager hut here kind of off camera. But just to kind of see the difference between the two, we now have 173 berries. As far as it goes for our army, we're about the same. We were at 20 out of 36 for a lot of this. Now we are at 19 out of 36. All right, now that we have a little bit better berry production and a little bit more food coming in, the next thing we need to work on is actually our fuel. Now we have a charcoal kiln here, which takes some firewood, and we have a woodcutter's a woodcutter's lodge that takes our logging lumber and creates firewood. So for starters, we're kind of capping this. So we could definitely use another worker here, but then I also want to create a whole nother woodcutter's camp or woodcutter's lodge so that we have more firewood, one coming in for our people and two supplying our charcoal kiln. So let's just come on in here really quick and let's just put in another woodcutter's lodge. And let's just put that right there for now. And then while everything is building up, we will work on more food. I want to also increase our veggie production once more, and I'm going to build these burgage plots down near the farms using the corpse pit method. I believe it was Tacticat, but please don't quote me on this, as I can't remember off the top of my head whose video I was watching to kind of learn this strategy. Basically, we come in and we lay out 3 corpse pits to act as guidelines to create an efficient veggie plot garden. Now, I'm going to spin this just a little bit by adding just enough space so we can also fit some burgage plots together and get some chicken coops in the backyard. So what I'm going to do here, I want to put it right here. Where I'm going to start is actually coming in with 1 burgage plot that I'll probably put in the corner here. And I still like the extension addition that we can add. Okay, so just like that. That is going to be a layout for one of our burgage plots with a chicken coop. Now let's come in and get the corpse pits and see if we can't lay out about 3 of them kind of nicely in this area here. We cannot, so let's try this in a different spot. I was a little worried we might get a little close there. So let's actually come on over. Let's come right here. And let's do the same thing with our burgage plot. Okay, now we have 3 there. So let's draw in a road just to kind of frame this and give us that guideline that we want. And then demolish these. And then we should just be able now to create a very large gardening plot. Okay, this isn't quite working out the way I was hoping it would, and I'm not quite sure what I'm doing wrong on that. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm still going to keep this as a guideline. Let's just try something a little bit different. right, there we go. I like this. It doesn't give too much open space for the housing, and it gives a good amount of gardening space. We'll put one there. Let's come on in and let's delete these roads. All right, we'll work with this for now and see how it turns out. Next, let's add another granary right here in this block with the windmills so that we have easy transport of the foods and increased storage for it. This way, hopefully our workers will focus more on working and less on moving food from their personal storage units to the granary and to the marketplace. This way we can hopefully get a little bit more efficiency in here. Finally, I do want to add in a second farmhouse here and try to add a bit more workforce to help harvest our fields. I'm going to monitor our plowing season kind of off camera because despite keeping our Morgan to family ratio at 1:1, I think we aren't harvesting and seeding the fields fast enough. We may delete this later or just leave it unemployed depending on what we see. So a few episodes back, we claimed this area right here, and I noticed it has a rich berry and a rich hunting deposit. I want to exploit this for new Enamoruth, so the plan is to create a farming forager community and trade between the two settlements. Alright, so that does mean that we want to come in here and we want to start building our settlement here. Especially because the Baron has now taken the last free territory, so he's going to start focusing on ours very soon. So what we're going to do, we're going to come in here and we're going to start by setting up a settler's camp. This takes 250 treasury and we have 333. We do have an annual royal tax coming up in about 140 days, which I think came to about 3 or 4-ish months. Our regional wealth over in New Enamoruth is this 1790 times 3%. So we should be okay to have enough treasury by the time this comes by. So let's come in here and let's get that settler's camp right on in. This is kind of cool. So this is my first time actually settling something new. So you can make a town, a farming village, a forest village, or a mining village. Looks like we can't select these just yet. I wonder if it's because it's a part of the early access, but for now we'll do the only options that we have. And then let's start queuing up a couple of lumber productions here. All right, and next let's get in a hunting camp and a few forager huts. Because these are rich deposits, I will probably go a little bit heavier on the forager hut. The hunting camp I'll probably just keep at 1. So let's get our hunting camp right up here, and let's get some foraging huts. How about down in this area? All right, let's let all of that build in a bit here. So while we're building these items, let's talk about naming our new settlement, as it is time to come up with a new name. So let me know your name suggestions down in the comments, or jump on over to the community tab where we are holding a poll for some names that have already been suggested or brainstormed in the past. So that way, if you want to take a vote, please do so. All right, so now that we have that built up in a little bit more timber, let's come in and start working on our residential area. And the first thing I'm going to want to do is add in some marketplace area, as well as the wells and houses, obviously. So let's come on in here, and I think we can place the well right in this area here. Do we want it on the inside? Let's put it right here. And then I am going to build just a little area around this and snap in a few marketplaces. And we're probably going to keep the marketplaces just a little bit smaller in this one and kind of just grow them as we need to. So that's 3 stalls. I want to go just a little bit bigger. That 2 is 3 stalls. All right, we'll just go with 3 stalls for now. I think that's fine. Or we'll go with 9 because I like that spot right there. All right, and then let's also start getting some burgage plots in here. All right, and then let's keep with that same strategy we just came up with the eggs and the gardening beds. Obviously, we're going to start with the gardening beds for now. That way, when we have more regional wealth, we can add in some eggs as well. All right, we'll start with those 3 for now. We can upgrade to add a new family. So that should be 6 households total, which we should be okay to cover with our families. If not, we'll just come in and do a little bit more. All right, while those finish upgrading, let's come in and get those logistics, trading, and storage all up and running. So right now we have 2 timber. So we are playing a little bit with our demand. So we can't quite put a trading post in, but we can put the granary. And I do think I want to get that in right away. And I think I'm going to put the first one right here. I'm going to want to put a second one up here to accommodate the hunting camp a little bit better. And then let's get some more timber in real quick in a little time lapse, and then we'll come back in and get some storehouses as well as our trade in. All right, so we have the trading post in. Because we have a cold family, we will be adding some more burgage plots in here, but I'll do that a little bit off camera as we still need a lot of timber to get imported, well, cut down. All right, so before we wrap up today's episode, I wanted to come into the trading post here in our new settlement and kind of just show this section right here. So allow foreign trade. By turning this off, you tell your workers to only trade between the regions on the map and ignore trade points and free merchants. I'm hoping by turning this off This will allow trade between our two settlements. I don't think it should go between the Baron settlements, but let me know down in the comments if you have experimented with this. My biggest question is, if I turn this off, will it keep it just to the settlements or the territories we have conquered, or will it trade with the Baron as well? For now, I am going to turn all of it off for the food. And then I want to get the berries first to export. I want to cap us at 250 just for now, because obviously we're still getting this settlement up and running. And then we'll establish this trade line later down the line. For now, we'll just kind of leave it kind of open and free. Alrighty, I think we are going to wrap up today's episode right here. Let me know down in the comments your thoughts on the new strategies. Do you think importing food from a new territory will help or hinder our conquest of the land? Tune in next week to find out more. But before you go, if you enjoyed today's episode, please consider hitting the like button and subscribing to future content. Until next time, I hope everyone has a phenomenal week.